I came to the Alexander technique at a very young age. I had backache because I was dancing a lot, and by the age of 18, I started having lessons so that it will help me, first of all, get rid of the pains, but also get my use better while in everyday life and while I'm dancing.
Yes.
And as it helped me so much, I kept getting lessons from the age of 18 to 20 because I was in the army. And straight after that, I went to England and studied with Mr. MacDonald. Actually, I went to England to study choreography and Alexander. Choreography just dropped when I started to have problems with my thyroid glands. I kept on with Alexander, and I added on acupuncture because I was treated by acupuncture and was helped greatly, and I was very curious to know how they did it. And then I went into acupuncture as well as Alexander. I think that in Australia you've got wonderful community actually of teachers. They all were trained by teachers other than the one that I was trained. And that's what made it so interesting for me to come here and to exchange knowledge with them. But I think that the society and the community is very serious, as in all other countries that I know of, States, Europe, Israel. There are always people who studied it for themselves and found it too hard to work with, but they still go on and advertise it because it's a good thing. And that there are the teachers that really pushing it and in a sense and working with it. And even if the proportion is that the ones that are working full time is a small amount, but I think that the rest of them, first of all, think quite highly of the Alexander technique anyhow, and that it helped them, and it's fine, you know, each of us has to find its own way. A lot. I noticed that people, according to how I see the Alexander technique, the core thing is to really to work on the head, neck, and back, and to build up the center of the person. And when I came in the beginning, the teachers used to work on other things, on releasing tension, on other things. And today, they really are much more focused on building this center, and from there going on to other things. The approach is the same because when I was taught by Mr. MacDonald and Mr. Scott was really to enhance the primary control. So the approach is the same approach, but during the year I did a lot of Tai Chi. Now I'm doing for over 20 years Qigong, and I found that the combination of these two systems, they help me. When I do Qigong, I'm doing a lot of Alexander work while I'm doing the exercises. On the other hand, I learned a lot from Qigong about inhibition and in a deeper sense, about releasing in a much, much deeper sense, and about the connection of everything in the body and to the tip of the fingers, really. I learned from doing the Qigong and Tai Chi, so they correlate with me, you know, and they complete each other for me. And I think that every time you discover something else that is not right with what you're doing, or was missing, or should be changed, and that's what's so fascinating about Alexander's work. I think that we should stick to the basics, really, which means that if you really take the Alexander technique as it's written in Alexander's book, in Alexander's books, and you really start off with his 5 rules that he writes about, that they are the Alexander technique, and really think that the main thing is to build the primary control, and to, as a teacher, you must all the time be sure that the student, first of all, understands that half of the responsibility is on him, if not more than that, and that he should work out of the lessons as well, and that actually he's going to learn it, to do it by himself, and he's not going to be your student forever and ever. And second thing, you have to know that while you are teaching, every lesson the student should go with something that is got new out of the lesson. That's very important, I think. Otherwise it becomes, first of all, boring, and secondly, useless. So this is very important, I think. And I think that as teachers, it's our duty to check every time that a student comes to me through the door. I ask them, well, how was the time between the other lesson and now? And what have you done with yourself? And you know, how much were you occupied by the Alexander technique during everyday life? Because I think that that's very important. But the main thing is really to stick to building the primary control and letting them use it as much as they can independently. That's the main thing. Okay, the primary control includes everything. It's true that it's physically, it's the head, neck, and back relationship. But when we talk about releasing the neck, for example, I think that it's not the neck at all. It's the whole nervous system, because the brainstem is there. So I think that releasing the whole tension of the whole nervous system in the body, and bringing yourself into being very peaceful and quiet within yourself. And as you have to direct all the time, you engage your mind as well. And then, you know, you build up a certain strength in yourself that goes with you everywhere. Now, while you learn to inhibit and not to react as if spontaneously, which is usually habitually, you have a full control of your life, and it engages really the physical, mental, and cognitive as well of yourself. And I think that it just, you know, it's as if you have some kind of how to call it in English, wrap around you that keeps you, on the one hand, very calm, on the other hand, very strong inside yourself, and it prevents all kind of things to really shake you too hard. Very funny because as it happens, coincidentally, probably, or otherwise, but I call it coincidentally, the more you get experienced, you get harder cases to work with, and it's a challenge. Or you get people from, for example, I didn't work, for many years now, I didn't work with children. I used to work in the beginning. And now I get children to work with, which is a challenge again. And I think that just working with whatever comes along, each person is a new entity for me. And each person is a different kind of person, and you have to reach them differently. And I think that it's very challenging. And I see it very interesting and very challenging.